and we'll talk about the lumbopelvic junction, which is down a little bit lower. Now, in our practice, again, most low back issues usually begin and end with the pelvis to a certain extent. And there are key muscles there that have to be worked, and if they don't or if they get too tight, we're going to see blowouts, we're going to see acute manifestations of a whole bunch of really ugly back pain kinds of episodes. So, Tess, can I borrow you for a second? All right, so I'd like you to be hands and knees on the floor.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Move out,
this will
guys.
work good. All right, so
I
this is appropriate for work.
Everyone hasn't just moved back so my butt's on your face. Obviously. You know what I mean?
You're good.
All right, so when we look at the lumbopelvic junction, this is kind of what we're looking at right here, right in this zone. Now, the issue here is that there are two major joints that basically are composed of the ilia and the sacrum here. So the space between the ilium and the sacrum is called the sacroiliac joint. And again, there are two of them, one on the left and one on the right side. Now, these joints absolutely have to be working fairly symmetrically and correctly orthopedically in order for us to have a normal gait pattern. And of course, if this isn't functioning correctly, then we're going to see compensation patterns in the hips, the knees, the ankles, and all the way down to the feet. So in our practice, especially with athletes, we're very, very concerned about this area, even if it's asymptomatic. There may not be active pain, but there may be dysfunction or lack of motion. So that's critically important to do. Now, the issue here, and the reason I've got Tess positioned like this right now, is because this is the normal orientation for the sacroiliac joints. They like being in what's called a quadruped position. And there's some anatomists that actually feel that these joints were actually designed and adapted for this kind of thing, for locomotion on all fours. So Tess, take a couple strides forward on all fours for me. In this position, right? Yes. So in this position, the SI joints are non-weight bearing. They're not loading at all. And there's no issue primarily on compressive forces on that part of the body. Now, the problem here with these joints is when Tessa stands up. So coming up here. Now, at this point, we've got her whole upper thorax now coming straight through the pelvis at this point, through the sacroiliac joints. And the issue with the SI joints is that they're basically joints formed almost on a diagonal. So we've got a tailbone here, and we've got an ilium coming into the side. This would be a rear view on somebody. But the problem is that this surface and this surface are not regular. So generally with joints, we'll see a nice smooth surface interacting with a nice smooth surface. And both of these surfaces are horribly rough and somewhat contorted. And there's also some fairly new research that is telling us that almost no adult human being has symmetrical SI joints. So one side is generally shaped differently, maybe a little bit more concave or convex. And the concave side is usually the side where most people experience pain. In my practice, people come in usually for repetitive episodes where they always say it's the right side all the time. Why is that? And it could be due to a lot of things, but this anatomical shape could be a little bit different. So for us and for G, we're all concerned about keeping this area mobilized and moving really, really effectively and efficiently. So two things that we talk about a lot in our practice. One is a very easy hyperextension maneuver, which basically is just a little bit of extension from the hip. So you're going to lean backwards a little bit with a gigantic co-contraction of the glute muscles, basically the butt muscles, for about a 5 to 10 second hold. Now what this does is it creates an isometric contraction in the glutes, and it also causes some force to help reposition the relationship between the ilium and the sacrum. So it's very common sometimes when people are prone to problems in the lumbopelvic region, as they hyperextend and squeeze, they will feel movement in the hips and pelvis as well as possibly an audible release in the sacroiliac joint, which is a really healthy thing to do. So a lot of times I'll tell patients as they're walking through a door frame, just pause for a couple seconds, hyperextend and squeeze, and then they go about their business. Really, really good and easy to do too. All right? So that's number one. And the second thing is a motion that works well for so many different parts of the body, but especially the lumbopelvic area. And Tess, let's do this one. So basically it's just one foot in front of the other in this position. Yep, just like this. And the feet will be fairly flat on this one, both feet pointed forward. And all we're going to do is bend that front leg a little bit, and then we're going to bring the opposite hand down in front. So we're going basically into this position. And then from here, you're going to push back. And you're just very gently going to rotate the hips while the legs are staying stationary. So both feet are still pointing forward on this one. Now, Tess, keep doing this. Mm-hmm. Now, in this position right now, we're getting a really good passive stretch on the active stretch on the Achilles, calf, hamstring, as well as the hip flexors on this side, which are called the iliopsoas muscles, which have been shown also to be a major risk factor developing low back and disc injuries in people. So she's getting that motion. She's also getting some quad development and some contraction on that foreleg. We're also getting this nice thoracic movement through here. We're getting some hyperextension of the shoulder blades, which will also help with the shoulders and upper back wall. And she's also rotating the neck, as you guys can see, which we already mentioned. Rotation, one of the cardinal planes of movement, really, really good to do for the cervical spine too. So generally the instruction set that I talk about a lot is about a minute, nice and slow on one side, and then switch to a minute on the other side 2 or 3 times a day, especially when people are sedentary or not getting enough motion. And this will also be stretching out some of the muscles in the lower back as she bends forward. And again, just like G was demonstrating, we're getting a lot of different kind of planar movement and couple motion through the thoracic spine and also through those all-important SI joints down in her pelvis here. So,
glute med as well, huh?
and glute medius, yes.
And proprioception.
And proprioception all over the place. Really good
Lot of
motion to do
balance.
when people are aging a little bit and may have some issues
Can't do
with
this
falling.
alone.
This is good to redevelop proprioception, which is, again, the sense of balance for people. So, and this can be modified for any age group, including children, all the way up to people. And I know some 9-year-olds that we work with this every single day. So nice and simple and easy to do.
And you can,
So,
the stands can be shorter if need be. I
Stance
have
can
a
be
pretty
shorter. Yep, it doesn't have to be as wide. It can be tighter than this. And also, a lot of rehab involves blocking or actually standing on diagonal boards on this one too to, again, work hip and also work proprioceptive capabilities too. So,
Awesome, love it.
Good.
Feeling good already.
That wraps up the time we have tonight. Just wanted to say thank you guys so much. That was
You're welcome.
awesome.
Sure.
So awesome.
And for, again, those of you that are watching this video, remember that was a lot of information. And to really break it down is we are working in more planes of motion than one. We don't want to be sitting all day long, right?
Right.
We need to work in the 3 planes of motion. We need to move every day. These are just some options to get you moving. You can either make the choice to make excuses all day long, I don't have time, or you can be in pain. And then the one thing that we all do collectively together is we help people feel less pain
Right.
at the end of the day. And it's a choice that we make every day when we wake up. We can either complain and cry about the pain that we're in, or we can make the choice to do something. And again, what's really awesome, and I think we're really grateful for the fact that we have these professionals that are willing to really enhance our knowledge. Like, again, we're really grateful for that. And what's great is not only do they live here, but Dr. Pelton travels and he lectures a lot around the country. G's going to start doing that because we're going to pack him in our suitcase, right?
Oh, boy. I'm actually in URI currently, and I'm branching as far as you.
You're right next week, so.
And you can catch them other places, and more importantly, they are. I mean, Dr. Pelton is not on the web as much as we'd like. We're just going to put him on the web. You can find Garino on Facebook as well as on his website. Do you have a website?
Nope.
No, he's just,
Well, that goes to the age before beauty problem.
Oh, yeah.
So, and actually, Tess, can I interrupt you just for a second? I
Yeah.
just thought of something I wanted to definitely share. Everything we've been talking about tonight too is really, really helpful as we get older. And I definitely am the old guy here tonight. So I'm 53 right now, and I've been an athlete my whole life, and I'm seeing the effects now of paying attention to the things that you guys are trying to spread out into the world. It all works. It's just that people have to be aware of it, and then they have to practice it, and they need to incorporate it into their life. And for me now, being in my 50s and still surfing and running a ton and exercising and doing the crazy things that I like to do, it's because I've invested.
and he has kids.
And I've got kids, but I've invested time into my own well-being over all these decades, and it's definitely paying off. So,
So important.
And how old are you? Can you tell us what your
I'm
age?
gonna be ripe old 38 this year,
And
He's got 2 little boys that he has to
and I have to
chase
chase 2
after.
little boys. Yeah, and I can't speak any more better than Dr. Pelton just said about that. Is it's one thing for us to say it, and it's one thing for us to preach it to our clients, patients, and for you guys to give it as coaches. But for you individuals, it's paramount that you take those small minutes a day to start to be proactive, to infect other people with that proactivity and spread it a little bit, because it becomes a happy thing. Movement becomes a happy thing, and then enjoying it with other people becomes a happier thing. And all that positivity has not just kind of like, oh, I'm a
It's a ripple
happy
effect.
person. It's a ripple effect, but it has biomechanical and biometric effects on the body, and that ripples through people and through society and through your community, and you'll work better and you'll be more productive and you'll have a little more thought to go in the right directions because you won't be focusing on pain and you won't be focusing on how much is burning you, and then your daily life burdens you. You'll be able to spread a little more positivity towards the other people in your life and help them as well.
Quality of life.
Quality of life.
It's all about quality of life. And I think for Julie and I, we're really lucky to have decided to make that part of our life. Like, this is not only something that we teach in 8 Weeks of Awesome, but this is something that we do every single day. And I think I've always wanted to attract myself with people who don't just talk the talk. It's about doing the work. And I think for a while I was a little bit of it. I would talk a big talk. Again, I just forgot I was young and I'm still kind of young, but whatever young is. And the biggest thing is,
What's your age, Tessa?
people will say you're so lucky, and I'm like, I'm not lucky. I made the choice.
Mhm.
I'm not lucky. I made the choice every day to make myself a priority so that I can be a ripple effect, so that I can help other people. And that, honestly, at the end of the day, we are creating world peace when we're taking care of ourselves. I truly believe that. Let's just put a plug for world peace. When we take care of ourselves,
Someone
know.
win the pageant.
but you honored it right there. It's community.
I know.
I just got that. I was like world peace, and I'm on the stage. Like, so it's just so important though, because when we take care of ourselves, we really do. We tell everyone around us, you have this option. And what do you want to say to end that? Because I just think it's so powerful though.
It is.
I really feel like
It's about finding balance. I will state my age. I am 35. Tessa's 31. Okay,
no, I'm
anyway.
not. Okay, shut
She
it
will
down.
be.
Shut it down.
um,
30, 28.
and I think I walked the walk too hard. You know, there is find that balance point that too much of a good thing turns into a bad thing. And it's learning how to listen to your body, knowing what you need, honoring it, and giving yourself that, but taking care of yourself in a way that's healthy. So just like everybody else shares, like, you can show up. You can show up for yourself, you can show up for others, and be really present with it, and establish that quality of life and make those meaningful moments. And if you're in pain or you're in your head and instead of in your body and just living, it's going to really take away from that. So yeah, just
Let's move.
just move
Gotta move.
well, have some fun and smile. And thank you. That's it for tonight. We'll
We're
see you
so
again
excited.
soon.
Yay! Team
you.
Awesome, go! 1, 2, 3.
We win the pageant.
Thank you.